Well, hi. This just happens to be recorded on the solstice. Winter solstice if you're in the northern hemisphere, southern solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere, but it's solstice. And for me, the solstice has a very significant thing to just be aware of. The solstice is when opposite genders transition, meet. By that I mean, in the northern hemisphere, we are just finishing 6 months in a row of each month corresponding to a female. Number one girl, father's mother. Number three girl, father's father's mother. Number five girl, father's mother's mother. I know it's a lot to get those numbers correct, but it takes a little practice. But the three women from the father's side of the family, they link into and connect with the three women on the mother's side of the family. But the real consummate beginning is really, from this interpretation, in the autumn, the northern hemisphere, first month of September. Is that, and then it transitions to girl, mother's mother, four girl, mother's mother's mother, six girl, mother's father's mother, is 6 months in a row of women. And then they meet on the winter solstice and change into 6 months of male sequence. I'm not going to go over the sequence right now, but I will go over it thoroughly in a number of days, go through it one at a time. I really want to focus this one primarily on the southern hemisphere because I think there are extraordinary opportunities available if you choose to participate with a degree of your own sincerity, purpose, commitment, passion, and you really want to progress, then you can experiment with some things that I think are useful, viable, and also effective. Now, what you're at the very cusp of in the southern hemisphere is you're at the very height of the longest day length of the year. That's what's called the sixth boy or the summer solstice, where the highest peak of, if you will, day length of the amount of light for the entire day reaches a peak. And then it transitions into a descending day length. This descending day length, as I mentioned before, goes 6 months of descending day length, passing month by month through 2 seasons until it reaches again the opposite of the winter solstice. Right at this cusp, I think is an extraordinary opportunity and probably continues to be an extraordinary opportunity for about 4 weeks. Now, what's very cool about this position is it is both up and down. By that I mean the highest light, if you can think of that, where the energy of the rising sun rises upward for 6 months in the front of the body and then reaches a peak at the peak of the summer solstice and then starts a journey going down the back from the top of the head down. 6 months of down. It takes an interesting turn at the top of the head as it goes back into the hairline and inside, and it is primarily experienced in the realm of the cerebellum. The cerebellum is a place that really controls and regulates mobility and movement and equilibrium and a whole bunch of other things, but the cerebellum is also involved in regeneration. It's part of the brain that actually regenerates itself, goes in, and then continues to go down. Now, remarkably, At the same time as it is experiencing the top and going down, it opens a tiny place in the pelvic cavity. So this is an experience where if you think of number one girl, it's like a ladder. The very bottom of the ladder that we're referring to in this case is the bottom of the pelvic cavity that basically cradles and holds and stabilizes the torso, and that's your pelvic cavity in the bottom of your spine. The interesting part about that, it's actually the receiving point of everything coming up from the toes, and your walking and your motion and your exercise and your doingness. It takes the meridians, the 14 functions of flow in the toes, basically obviously 5 there, 2 at the ankles, 2 in the legs. It takes energy and runs them up your body and comes right into availability at the bottom of your spine. There's a lot more energy available at the bottom of your spine than 10,000 steps of walking, which by the way works. You send these rhythmic pulses up and it meets in the pelvic cavity, and either it's going to be utilized or not. Now I'm suggesting that you might consider how to utilize it or how to experiment with it. Now, the place that I would send you is right here. This picture behind me, by the way, some of you have seen this before. This is simply a magnified view of one vertebrae of the spine. This is what the bone tissue looks like in your bones, especially in your spine. Now, that red part behind it is basically, as you probably already know, that the bones produce the marrow. But the bone producing the marrow, because for me, the marrow and the blood production, the blood is where the soul occupies the body. Okay, consider it that the soul comes through the mind, upper astral, lower astral, etheric functions, energetic field, your aura, whatever you want to call it, your chi field, and then occupies the physical body right at the point where the consummation of the bones produces the blood. That's a lot. But wait, there's even more. This is the same place where the T cells or the immune system cells originate. This is also the location of one of the most significant cells in the entire body, called the stem cells. The stem cells are very special cells that are capable of going anywhere in the body, not only in the blood, through the blood, but to any other gland and organ and body system, and actually using that stem cell to heal or transform or reproduce that cell in that gland or organ or body system. The stem cell is an immortal type of cell, meaning it has the ability to keep being regenerated in this particular location. So I'm urging you to consider spending a period of time, whether it's the bones of the skull or the bones of the spine or the bones of the pelvic cavity, to occupy this place, because this is basically the foundational strength of the blood, the body, the brain. It's the mineral kingdom in the pelvic cavity that produces the ability for all of the energy coming through the feet and the mobility of the hands even, and it moves up the body. So I'm suggesting just do that with slightly more awareness. And you can put in here, by the way, anything that you want to put in. Meaning you can put your desire to grow, you can have peace, you can do passion, you can do success, you can seek your soulmate, because whatever true aspiration you're having with a sincere commitment in your bone structure, it's going to be imbued within and influencing the stem cells, and it's going to go out in the body to help to begin producing your capacity to experience the desire that you're now having. Phew. So if it's health, starts there. If it's happiness, consciousness, well-being, it starts there. Why does it start here? Well, for me, the bone is to the body what the skin is to the soul. Okay, I'll try that again. The skin is the container of the body, obviously. But the skin is also semi-permeable, and it has a way of interfacing with the subtle or spiritual levels of the body or the mind. And the skin is semi-permeable and goes two directions. But what the skin is to the beginning of the next level of consciousness, the bone is to this level of consciousness. Now, easier way to see it is to consider your interior radiance, your individual, if you will, your own I amness, or whatever you want to identify as you having consciousness, is very much related to your will. Not the expression of your free will, though that's part of it too. We're talking about the will that has the constitutional integrity of your soul's identity, existence, and uniqueness. This same location, yes, it corresponds to tribalism and survivalism and family, but those are oftentimes more of a challenge. But first, I'm suggesting you start with a sincere desire to want to experience the truth about your own intrinsic radiance, and spend time, at least 3 minutes in a day, focused on the full extent of your skeletal structure. Not just your pelvic cavity, which is a good place to start, the bottom of the coccyx, and then move up through vertebrae by vertebrae, however number of bones. There are sometimes debated whether it's 204 or 207 bones. But your bones correspond to your right to exist as an individual. Now, if we back up to last month, it was what's called the 6-boy month. That is the most masculine expression, because the 6th boy is an accumulation of 6 men, 3 from the mother's family, winter, and 3 from spring, father's family. So you have feminine men from the mother's family, masculine men from the father's family, and they kind of all join together at the top of this power 9 months after you started the journey in the first month of autumn. 3 months in the autumn combined with their husbands, the 3 months of winter. I know it sounds a little abstract, that meet the equinox in the spring equinox, where all of the flowers, the passion, the hormonal flow comes in the spring. All of the friendship functions start to happen, socialization happens, and it all comes up to a power. That power is your right to express, utilize, and experience your choice. You can make a choice and set that in motion in your bones. Now, if you make a clear choice, you don't have to be afraid of making a choice. Maybe be more afraid of not making a choice. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to be wrong. But the non-use of your capacity has a greater impact in the long run than the misuse or mistakes you could possibly make now. So the suggestions I'm giving you are not in any way dangerous to your existence. They could be powerful. If you want to stay down here, do what we've done before, go inside the bones, dance to music, or vitalize this with your breath. You can do different vowel sounds down here. You can do a lot of very significant things in your bones. Now, I've had multiple experiences, maybe 24 different experiences in the bones. I'll be honest with you, I've not had a single experience in my muscles. I've had 1 or 2 in my nerves. I've had several in my blood. I've had it in different locations, the heart, the pituitary, the pineal, a little bit in the throat. But the majority of the experiences really have to do with my bones. I've had some really, really strong ones. And the bones are, for me, the existence of my own soul embodied. Now, I used to be, I admit it, in a hurry to get out of here. Because if you have an experience and you do go through the bones up and out, you get to have a very present experience of higher realities. And once you start to see a higher reality, the lower ones are, like living in a toilet. I'm sorry, but the lower experiences of being down where most of us are trying to eke out a living and we're separated or alone, we have all of the us versus them things. Some of the things about lower consciousness are not easy. We're lonely, we're hurt, we're tired, we're hungry. Higher levels don't have any of that. So yes, it's quite attractive to go there until you learn that what you do at the bottom of your spine and your bones engages and initiates what you experience later. So to literally enrich your life now, or to enrich your life later, take your attention, your feeling, your sincerity, your breath into your bone and make a choice. You can make any choice you want. You can choose peace, you can choose change, you can choose love, you can choose transformation, you can choose anything you want. You can even change it around at times. Now, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you have 3 months to accumulate the power of this choice. What does that mean? It means for this month, you're on the #1 girl position, and you can work this radiance of your right to use your own will with a greater and greater capacity or purpose or passion, mobilization. You can do whatever you want with it. If you stay in this place and you utilize that and you step into it, you can accumulate that week after week for the 4 weeks of that month. But you should already know it's already connected to the next month, and everything you do in this month is going to be utilized by the next month. So everything you're doing in the last month, which has the increase of power, the increase of awareness of passion, the increase of masculinity, you've now brought something into manifestation. Consider it. 9 months after you began a cycle of gestation, you're manifesting your one girl now. So in the middle of this manifestation, add some life. If it's peace, the lake that has no ripple, yeah, pretty nice. If it's the ability to transform your heart and forgive, yeah, I like that one too. To receive divine love and radiance, and you want that, yeah. But I'm also cautioning you, if you focus only on the upper spiritual world and you just basically want light, 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 yeah, you can do that too, but you're minimizing your long-term success. I've done that one myself. I don't recommend it. I recommend that you come into and occupy the actual manifestation of your magnified masculinity, including for women, because that's where you are. You're on the father's side of the family, building and magnifying your own masculinity. Masculinity is just the opportunity to manifest your desires. So what desire do you have? Do you want to be desireless? You can. I don't recommend it. But have a desire to fulfill divine purpose, destiny, have a relationship through faith to whomever manifested in your bones. Then that choice made by you starts a mobilization given to the next month, which is the plant kingdom food nourishment month. The 3-girl month, the next month, it's about regenerating the body. It takes all of that information and starts to empower the body to create it. It doesn't manifest immediately, but it stores up energy in the 2nd month, and then it goes into the 3rd month, and it increases the associated wholeness, what's called the 5-girl month. It includes the diversity of something that's global that we're all going through right now. And it gives you the opportunity to take everything you're doing back into a tiny drop of water in the autumn season, and inside that drop of water, eternal pristine peace, benevolence, kindness. So I'm suggesting, what do you really think is the most important thing that you want to manifest with your heart, mind, and soul now? Start today. I would suggest you take 15, 30 seconds, 3-4 times a day. Don't go crazy. You don't have to do 4-hour meditations. 20 minutes is nice, but almost too long. You're better off having a rhythmic appreciation for the hours of the day and stay focused in your spine with your breath and awareness and move forward, because this is the time to be actively engaged in the world, not to escape it. So that's my suggestion about how to do the very first week of the 1st month in the Southern Hemisphere. That's number 1, girl. Occupy your bones, be alive, feel, dance, exalt, pray if you wish. Do those things that are important to do, whatever calls your heart. That's what you'll set in motion. When you set it in motion, the 1st month of your autumn in 3 months, now that's going to be inserted and amplified and magnified into your interior feminine to cycle around next year to come out in a stronger way than it is right now. So all the next year, what you're doing now will accumulate and go to its associated places. If you're standing down there inside those bones and you're remembering that your bones are alive, not dead, they're not inert, they're not neutral, they're not just a substance. They eat, they breathe, they reproduce. I'm suggesting to you that it has a consciousness that's very significant and important. Remember the stem cell. What do you want your stem cells to become? Because right there, you're going to give them a message, and that's where they're going to go. The immune system and the 5-girl will get it there, and the blood will be the way that it passages to get there, but the whole body will receive the magnification of what your sincere desire is now. Okay. Well, I'm kind of excited for the people in the Southern Hemisphere because I really firmly know what can be done if you want to. Good luck. Let me know how it goes for you. Talk to you soon.